Hello and glad tidings, everyone. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. My name is Nana Herron, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today is day 6 of our impromptu Advent Tangles. And I thought we'd do something super easy because of my schedule this week is super challenging. So we are going to take a look at a very early tangle called Tidings. All right, we are going to need a white tile, our other basic supplies, the black pen, a number 2 pencil, a tortillon. We need colored pencils in greens and yellows. We need a quarter or something small and round to draw around. And this is about a quarter is probably just under an inch in diameter. I also have a red gel pen and some glitter gel pens in some of my favorite colors. So it's a lot of tools, but the tangles for today are very simple and very quick and very fun. All right, once you have your materials gathered, and we can get started. I'm going to move everything aside, and I am going to take my pencil and I am just going to draw right across there, just a wavy line. Oops, let me do it a little darker so that you can see, but you probably want to do it much lighter. And then I'm going to set my pencil aside, and we're going to start with a little greenery at the top, and we're just going to do that with Flux. So we're going to start with Flux to add our greenery, and I'm going to rotate my tile a little bit. And we've talked about Flux before, and there's 2 versions of it, but I'm doing my favorite one. So we're just making kind of like a dewdrop or a teardrop to start. And then we're building on that. We're doing kind of like a little bit of an aura there, like a half one, but in that teardrop shape. And they're not always going to be the same size. They could be smaller or thinner or wider. And we're just going to keep going. Going along our curved line there. So this goes pretty fast because Flux is also one of the original tangles. And it's really just that curved shape. And then we'll add some details to it. So I like to always start on one side. And then I like to go on the other side. We've got a little message on my screen there. All right. So now we're just kind of mirroring that on the other side. But they don't have to be exactly matching. And again, some of these, since this is greenery, these little leaves, some of them are going to be bigger than others, thinner, wider. All right, we're at our end. So we just have this nice kind of bow of greenery there. And we will be coloring it in with our colored pencils. But first we're going to add our detail. And that's just a line. And you could do 2 or 3 dots. I like to do 3, but sometimes you can only fit 2 in there. And I'll just go down one side and finish all those, and then I'll do the other side. All right. Let me just make sure that's all focused in there. Okay. And then the same on the other side. And you might not want to even add dots. You might just want to do a line. That's fine too. So I'll just add a couple of lines. So it's entirely up to you what you would like to do. But now that we have that inked in, we are going to add a couple of little ornaments so that we can put our Tidings tangle inside the ornaments. And I'm just going to do that with a quarter. So I have a quarter here, and you can play around with where you want to put your little ornaments. You could do 1, 2, 3, or one in the middle and then 2 lower, or put the middle one lower and have the other 2 higher. You can play around with it. Also, you could use different sizes of circles. I'm just going to stick with the quarter today. So I'm going to start with the one kind of in the middle and just draw around it, ink around it very carefully. And then I'm going to decide where to put my next ornament. I'll put this one down, kind of down here. Again, be careful when you ink around it because it's really easy for the quarter to move. And then let's do another one, maybe here, like that. Once you have that inked in, you can put your quarter aside. And then I don't have a straight edge with me. You could use one if you wanted to, but I'm just going to put in like the little string from the ornament to the greenery. So I'm just freehanding it here like that. Now I'm going to switch to one of my glitter gel pens. And I think I'll start in the center one. And we're just going to do a very basic tidings. And we're just starting with a shape that looks like an S. But you want to have these little, kind of like a bulb on each end. Like that. And then you can fit in other S's. Sometimes you can't fit in a whole S, so you would have a part of it. You might have a part of it here. I'm going to rotate a little bit. And the start of one there. And let's come through here like that. Once you have your S shapes, or let's see, the parts of the S shapes, we are going to just aura around that. And you can switch colors if you'd like. I'm just going to stick with this kind of beautiful plum color that I have. I'm just going to aura around our initial shapes. When I run into another one, I just lift up my pen and go over to the other side and keep going. And once we fit in our first set of auras, then we go in and do a second set. And a third if you can fit it in there. And that's our first ornament. If you'd like to go around the circle, you can. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to do a little shading. I'm going to switch colors now. And I think I'll go with a blue color. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rotate a little so that it has a different angle to it. And I'm going to do the same thing. Start with my S shape, the little bulbs on the end. I think I can fit another one in over here. And then let's see. Put that in there. And maybe a part of one there. And then we're just going to aura around that. So it's really just your S shape with the bulbs on the end, and then you aura around it. Super, super simple. And very quick, very easy. And we have a blue one done. And then this one over here, I'm going to try a gold color. Let me see how it looks on the camera when I do this one. And I think I'll rotate this way this time. And we'll go this way. All right, then we'll put another one over here. And your little S shapes do not have to be the same size. They can be different sizes. Something like that. Then come back over here. Like that. And then we will aura around these. So if you actually have, we're working in a small space right now, but if you actually have a large space, it would be really easy to fill that space pretty quickly. Be careful with gel pens. Just a reminder, they take a little longer to dry. So be careful when you're working with them. It's really easy to smear them. That's about all I can do with that. And then what I would like to add is to our strings here, I would like to add kind of like a matching, just a little bit of a matching bow with a little bit of a ribbon. I'm going to go back and pick up my other colors and do the same thing. So our bows are kind of like an infinity symbol and just with some squiggly ribbons. Again, very simple, very quick. And then we're going to do our blue. And your bows could be higher up or lower. Like that. All right, let's go in and do a little bit of shading. And I have to find my pencil. So, oh, you know what? We can add. So something that we can add before we do our shading, we can add a few berries. So along your greenery here, you can pick areas to add a few berries. So we just do that with the little orbs, and I like to go around them twice. And just kind of filling them in here and there. I'm very fond of adding little berries because I think they're cute. And I do like to go back in and fill in these little spaces here. You see like this little triangle in there? I like to fill that in. That's optional. And let's see, should I add any more berries? I could probably add one here. You don't want berries everywhere, but just enough to make it look festive. All right, that's cute. Now let's take our pencil and I'm just going to add a little shading along these areas where there's the points of the leaves. So each leaf comes to a point here. So I'm adding a little bit of shading. On both sides. And then I also want to add shading on the outside of these. So just take your time and add a little bit of shading. I'm not adding a lot of pressure, just very light. It's a very light motion. And then I also want shading on this side as well. And then I'm going to add some shading around my ornaments. I'm not doing really any shading inside there. if you'd like to add a little more to your ornaments, you can go back in and with your gel pen, you could actually ink in these smaller areas, for example. So if you'd like a little more color, you can do something like this, where you go back in and just ink in those smaller areas. And we can do that with the other colors too, so that you can see how that looks. And I say this a lot, I do it for you so that you can decide whether you want to do it or not. So I kind of do the experiment and then you can sit back and watch and decide if you'd like to do it or not. And we'll do the gold too. The gold, let's see, we don't have as many spaces here. Add some there. It's just not a lot. Just ended up that there's not a lot with the gold, just a few. So I kind of like it like that. So if you think you'd like to do that, you can go back in and do that. And then let's finish with our shading around the ornaments. Being really careful not to touch those areas because they might be a little wet. All right, so that's about all I'm doing with shading, and then I'm going in with my tortillon. And I think I'll use, looking for a very pointy one. I go in here. I'm going to start on the inside of the little flux leaves here, petals, leaves. Pull that out. And then we'll go around the outside here. You want that to look nice and smooth. And you could do this with other types of botanical tangles too. If you're looking for some greenery, like you could have used Vertigo, the tangle that we did yesterday. But I feel that Vertigo uh, takes a little bit longer. All right, so we have that kind of shaded in, and then I'm going to go around my ornaments, just adding a little shading around each of those and pulling that graphite out. Again, be careful in the areas with the gel pen in case it isn't dry yet. Different gel pens take different lengths of time to dry, so make sure you experiment and see on scrap paper how long yours is taking. All right, so we have a little bit of shading around those. And if you don't want to fill this in with colored pencil, you don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I have green, and yellow. So I am just, the areas that we kind of shaded, I'm just going in with the green. A little darker towards the points and much lighter in the rounded areas. So darker towards the stem part. And I'm kind of working on both sides, trying to keep it as even as possible. Because I want it to look pretty balanced. And I'm just using standard greenish colors, green and yellow, but you might not want green leaves. Maybe you want purple leaves. Leaves do come in different colors. So you can decide what you'd like to do. Just add a little more pressure to these areas here. All right, that looks pretty good, but I like to add more layers to the colored pencil so that it just has a more blended and saturated look to it. So with this yellow green color, I'm just adding a layer of even pressure here. So it's not heavier in one area versus another. It's pretty much the same pressure throughout. Finish the top. And you can definitely see a difference between the top right now and the bottom. This is starting to look a lot more saturated than this. Again, I'm trying to be careful of the gel area, although it should be dry by now. but I don't want to take any chances. All right, that looks pretty good. But I'm still going to add one more layer just to these edge parts. Just adding a little bit of yellow to these areas. So again, you can see what a difference it makes, like this area compared to this area. So you can decide really how far you want to go with the layering of the colored pencil. We now have 3 layers on there, and that looks really nice. The last thing I'm going to do is take my red gel pen and add that color to the berries. Although it doesn't necessarily need it. I kind of like the berries white, but again, I'm going to fill them in so that you can decide for yourself, would you like white berries or do you want to go ahead and make them red? So I've got a red gel pen. I'm just adding a little bit of red color. If I can help it, I try to leave a little highlight in there. Sometimes the pen has a mind of its own and it ends up entirely red. All right, that looks pretty cute. So that is Tidings and Flux. Now I'm going to put my initials in there, and I think I'm actually just going to put my initials in the corner today. Like that. They're cute little, it looks really cute. A cute little tile. I'm going to flip it over carefully and put in my name, the date, and this was our Advent Tangles. It's day 6. And our featured tangle was Tidings. It's Tidings by Zentangle. And we also had Flux in there. And that's also by Zentangle. All right. So cute little tile with color, little bit of glitter, but not too much. I don't know if you can see that kind of sparkle in there. That's really cute. I like it. Super fun, super easy. I really enjoyed spending this time with you today. And I hope you're having a good day. And the weekend's coming up soon. And I'll be back for Saturday. So until then, you all take care. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. I love you guys. Bye.